Okay, so my goal for these few hours that we have together is to try to share with you everything I know about working with editors of various types, and also to explain what different types of editors can do for us or don't do for us. It's a very confusing thing, and it's one of those areas, unfortunately, in publishing that is rife with scams. Okay, so the last couple of days, just to refresh myself and also to do a little searching around and seeing what how the land lay, I was online looking around, and I was discovering, a lot of issues that I would really like to warn people about. Before I go on, though, I want to say that the same thing that I say to any group that I'm talking with, okay? At Beta Ocean, or when I'm talking down at the Smithsonian, I do workshops there. We got one coming up actually in July. And this is the thing. If today I don't answer questions that you have, of course bring them up. Ask me while I'm here. But if tomorrow or next week, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, you're stuck on something and you just don't know what to do, okay? You just don't know what to do about the possibility of this particular editor. Does this person sound okay to you? Or this is what's happening, or even to the point of, I'm hung up on my plot, I can't move forward, it's dead in the water. Shoot me an email. If you pick up one of the cards, and I was just realizing I don't have the email address on, so I was writing it on. So Kathryn@writebyyou.com. If you email me, shoot me an email, ask me your question, I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. If we can't, in a quick email, resolve the issue, then we'll set up a time when we can talk on the phone and get to the bottom of what's keeping you from writing and moving forward. And I don't charge for this. This is what I do all the time, okay? So it's nothing unusual for me. It's why I am doing what I'm doing with my life, which is doing the mentoring as well as writing my books. I love the teaching, and I love seeing people move forward in their books and move closer to publication. And we've had some really nice successes in recent years. People who've been in my classes and I've worked with. So it's very satisfying to me. So don't hang back. If you're stuck, don't stay stuck. So shoot me an email and say, this is the issue. I need to know what you think about blah, blah, blah. We'll get it settled and you can move forward, okay? Now, on the other hand, if you decide, I've got my manuscript done, I want a full read and criticism of it, or I want you to edit it, I do charge for that. It takes an enormous amount of time, and we can talk about that if you want, but it's not necessary, okay? So for today, I want to give you everything that I can give you as far as how to work with the professionals, hopefully they're professional, not always are, who do editing, who do critical reads, mentoring, and talk about that part of the industry and how it can help you. It can, doesn't necessarily help you in some cases, but it can. Okay, so what is editing? There are different types of editors. There are content editors, sometimes called developmental editors, but they may not think in the same way about what they're doing for you. So it's very important that if you're looking for either a content or developmental editor, that you talk with this person and find out exactly how they envision their job and what they're going to be giving you. A content or developmental editor can look at a project, talk to you about it, help with plot issues, help with characterization, help with, suggest ways that you can put the book together in a more effective way as far as ordering scenes. It's really somebody who can partner with you to help you get the book into shape. And they're not doing a final edit, like putting every period in place, that sort of thing. They're helping you with the big picture. Usually those people, and this is pre-publication, this is not somebody, these are not editors who are hired and working for a big publishing firm at all. They're freelancers. They do their own thing, okay? Then again, other freelancers might be copy editors. A copy editor looks for the readability and the style and the flow of the story and inconsistencies, things that jump out at them. I have a very bad habit of changing characters' names midstream, you know, that sort of thing, okay? And, you know, I've heard of people say that they got a book all the way to publication, they realized they had a character who's naked and they never dressed him and he was walking out the door, you know, that sort of thing. That's, copy editors are there to catch things like that. They're also looking at other things like basic grammar issues, problematic, you know, misunderstandings in the way you use punctuation in dialogue, for instance, and that sort of thing. So they're looking for a broad spectrum of things. Are they going to help you with your plot? Are they going to help you with characters? Well, you know, a good copy editor might point out that there are issues, but it's not that person's job to resolve them. Whereas a developmental editor will give you solutions to problems, possible solutions that you can then choose from and use or not. A line editor, now we're getting to the fine tuning. A line editor is looking at word by word, line by line, looking again for misspellings, for grammar, for verb tense. Are you all over the place, bopping back and forth between present and past tense? Line editors are looking for a lot of mechanical stuff in the writing. It's not their job to critique your story. You know, you wouldn't go to a line editor and have them work on it and then say, well, did you like it? Was it good? What could I do better? You know, that's not their job. And finally, at the end of the whole process, a proofreader. If you go to a proofreader, they're going to be looking for things that really jump out. They're the last ones, traditionally, they're the last ones to look at the manuscript, other than you, before it goes to press. So if they see things, again, punctuation, grammar problems, they'll flag them. It may come back to you, a manuscript may come to you with little, if it was a physical manuscript, little tabs on the side. If it's in digital form, then it would come back to you in track changes in Word, because Word being the standard of the industry. And track changes is that means, does everybody know what that is at all? No?
Yes.
Everybody? Okay, we don't. Okay. So track change in Word. If you work in Word, okay, which you should be doing if you're going to submit your manuscript anywhere, because they won't be able to see it otherwise, okay? If you work in Word, then you can go to the revision tab at the top of the screen here, okay? Hit revision and you'll see more tabs in the ribbon, and one will say track changes. Now if you click on track changes, you have options for just an overall notation, annotations, or full all changes, okay? And I use all changes because what it does, when you do that, then the editor or the person working on your manuscript goes to track changes, and then they can make inline alterations and margin notes for you. And your manuscript will show up when it comes back to you after they've worked on it. If it's somebody who's a content editor or a copy editor, that manuscript may come back with all covered with color, okay? Because they've made notes and changes and alterations, all of which you can either accept or not accept. But this is the way I work with a client, and this is the way anybody who is editing will work nowadays, okay? And the reason is, when you get your pages back from this person who's been working on this, and my agent, for instance, will use this as well, you know, so that I can see where she's made little notes and said, what the heck do you mean here? She'll do things like, what are you saying here? I don't get this. So that you see this right in front of you, and then you can accept or not accept, and it's right there in the file, in the manuscript, okay? So it's not like you have to print it up and then by hand put in the changes, all right? Great time saver. Okay, so these types, content, the content or developmental editor, copy editor, the line editor and proofreader, these are all people, at this stage what we're talking about is people who are freelancers who are there for you to hire to work with you on your manuscript. If we look instead at the publishing house, they have all these people on task too, okay? They do. And if your book has been purchased already, gone to contract, and you've turned in your final manuscript, yes, they will be working on it at that point. But what many of us have found in the industry recently is it's harder and harder and harder. Especially, I have to say, for those of us who've been publishing before, not necessarily the newbies, because it's the time of the newbies. You're the new voice. You're what they're looking for. They're not looking for me. Does anybody know why? How does this come about? This is terrible for people like me. This is terrible. Okay, so think about it. I have all these books that I've done over years. I'm what's called a mid-list author. Okay, it's not a dirty word, but it puts me into this category. That means I sell okay. I don't sell Harry Potter terms, okay? They're looking for Harry Potter sales, right? Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of books, okay, per title. So I have a track record. So my agent goes and starts pitching my book, which she's gonna do shortly because we're finishing up a new one. So she's gonna pitch the book. She's gonna go, she's already said she's got 6 major publishers who are gonna look at this. And the first thing they're gonna do is look me up, all my pen names, and they're gonna look me up and they're gonna see what my sales record is. It's mid-list, okay? All right? So they are not gonna be as interested in me as in somebody who comes to them through an agent who is unknown to them and has not published before, because they really are dreamers. Editors are dreamers. They want to discover the hot new author. I'm not the hot new author. You are. So that's the thing. That's the thing, why you have an advantage at this point. So at the publishing house, though, the thing is, yes, they have all these people. Some of them may be out of house, you know, because they're trying to save money now and not hire people, but they have these people on staff in one way or another. But they don't look at your manuscript until they've already committed to buying your book. You don't have access to them, okay? So the trick is to get your book the best it can be, so that when it is pitched by an agent who loves your work to the publisher, they will go, oh my God, this is wonderful. Look at what great shape this manuscript is. You know, we bought it, it was a good choice, you know, it's good shape, okay? The other thing I have to say is that in-house editors, they're not working the way they used to, okay? They are not as careful as they used to. And a lot of us who are still in the publishing game after many years, what is happening is we're seeing that our books are being given much less care in-house as far as the editing. So I've had things go through in books, which I, you know, if I'd spotted them, I would have fixed them myself, but you don't see your own stuff always after you've written the book, you know, 40 revisions and 25 rereads, right? You don't see everything. And they were caught, and they were serious mistakes, and they should have been caught by any conscientious editor, okay? And they didn't catch them. So, you want to get the book in the best shape it can be. So, let's think a little bit about what these people, well, first of all, I think the big question in everybody's mind is, how do we find people like this? How do we find people to partner with to make our books the best they can be? And that's where it gets scary, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be straightforward with you, because you know, what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that this is one of the hottest new ways to make a bundle type of thing, okay? Is put yourself up as an editor and say, I will edit your novel, you know. There are lots of sites out there, tons of sites. I will edit your novel, and of course on a website you can put up anything, right? Whether it's true or not, you can put up anything. But the deal is, yes, maybe this person or this group of people will look at the manuscript, maybe they know enough to fix basic punctuation and grammar, and it will come back to you with some fixes on it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it was edited well, okay? A lot of people there are a lot of people, you know, to give them credit, who are very good at editing. Many of you are very good already at editing and could edit each other's work. You know, look for the punctuation, the grammar, correct the mechanicals and all of that. But when it comes to knowing how to put a story together, how to make a novel, how to create a short story that flows and has impact and all of that stuff, it takes a special knowledge, and it takes a certain amount of talent. And to trust your art, your work, with somebody who, A, you've never met, okay? B, you don't know if they have the ability whatsoever, you know? And, you know, are you going to be scammed? Are you going to be, you know? So one of the things that I was finding last night, actually, when I was doing some more looking around online, and you may be aware of this, but if you go and if you do a Google search, this is not the best way, by the way, to find an editor, doing a Google search, okay? If you do a Google search, all these groups will come up, these groups of professional, so-called professional editing groups. Now, so some of the ones that I pulled up, there's, and some of the people on these lists may be very good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. And the key here is, with most of these editing businesses, like I came up with editfast.com, Pro Novel Editing, sounds cool, you know. WordSharp.net, you know, all of these groups have one thing in common. You tell them what your word count is and how long your manuscript is, and in some cases they ask you what kind of manuscript. And then they assign an editor to you, who you never see, you never get to talk to, and you cannot ask questions of. Those are the rules. Now, to me, that is scary as hell, you know? And the other thing that tips me off is when I'm reading some of they have the little blurbs of some of these people. So some of them say that we have, our editors have had a long time love of fiction. So what? They have a degree in education or in English. So what? They don't know books. Some of them say, this is a website dedicated to providing a reliable service to authors, writers, students, and professionals seeking editorial service. And then they give some of the services. Others say, okay, I'm looking for one of these. I have edited and reviewed documents for the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. In addition to this, I have a Master of Arts in Creative Writing. I have edited full-length novel manuscripts. But it doesn't tell you really anything about their experience, real experience, okay? So I just say this is probably the worst way, is by going online and Googling and looking for these services. The one that I'm gonna check it out just for my own information later, but the one that I thought might actually pan out, although they're very vague, is the one run by Kirkus Reviews. They actually have an editing service at Kirkus Reviews. Now that one, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's just the website is just more believable. Okay. They do copy editing, they do what's called collaborative editing, and then they do a pro editing package. They tell you up front what some of the costs are. None of the others do, okay? Some of them give a range from 1 cent a word to, I found all the way up to 6 cents a word. Okay, so an 80,000 word novel, all right? You figure, different senses, you know, how much else that's going to run you. The Kirkus, because they have been around for so long and they have a reputation to protect, I'm thinking they might be a possibility. They do the copy editing, which is they say, basic manuscript cleanup. Okay, that's not helping you with plot. That's not critiquing it. That's nothing like that. It's just helping you clean it up mechanically. 2 cents a word. They do have an arrangement, apparently, where they will let you contact the editor. Whether it's only by email or it's by phone, I don't know. You know, but I don't know. It might work. The main thing to remember is if you're looking for a freelance editor, is the best way to do it is to go to someone who knows, who's worked with one before. And if they love this person, they certainly are worth trying out. But here's the thing, not everybody's right for everybody, okay? So, if I were out looking at this point for an editor, whether it's developmental or copy editor or whatever, what I would do is I would talk it up with everybody I know and find out if anybody knows anybody who has an experience with these people. We do have institutions around here. The Writers Center in Bethesda, okay? I get people calling me because the Writers Center sent them to me, you know, and they will send them to other people too, depending upon, you know, what you're looking for. So they do have some names of people who are instructors there, people they feel that, you know, might be a good match for you. And that would be one way. But that's the first step, really. That's only the first step. I don't know why, but a lot of people feel like as soon as they find somebody, it's, oh my God, I've got my angel here, and now I'm going to go with them, and that's it, you know, and trust them. But, you know, I would always try out people. You could try out several people, try out several editors of the sort that you're looking for, and see how they work. And one way to do it is you can ask if they'll give you a free edit of a couple pages, but they're not going to give you more than 2 or 3 pages, which doesn't tell you much. Okay, not for free because they don't have time. Okay, but various people will give short edits, say a chapter, say the first 20 pages or 25 or 30 pages for a fee that's going to be reasonable. It's not going to be thousands of bucks or anything, okay? It's going to be something that's reasonable for their time. So different people do it in different ways. I usually like to see 20 to 30 pages, And so I tell the person, give me 3 hours and I'll do a really thorough edit, and I'll also look at your outline at the same time for the whole book, and then we will talk about it. And I will give you a written report as well as the edit on the beginning. So that's, that's 3 hours of my time. It's a good way for you to, find out if I'm the sort of person that you're comfortable with and want to work with, and what value I might be giving you. And then, if it doesn't work, as with any person, when you give them a short term, a test run, you shouldn't have any obligation, you shouldn't sign any contract at all until you feel comfortable with them, okay? Nothing that obligates you. I do a letter of agreement, and actually I'll pass it around. I didn't copy them for you because it's a legal agreement and I can't have them floating around, okay? But I will pass it around so you can look at it as an example of what some editors might give you for a contract. And I ask my people to sign that before we work, because what it does basically, it guarantees to me that you are not sending me somebody else's work, okay? Because I don't want to be involved in plagiarism. It guarantees that this is your original work you're going to be sending me. It also guarantees you, which is very important to you, you should always have an agreement with anybody who touches and works on your work, a written agreement. It also guarantees you that anything I suggest or add to the manuscript or your idea of the book, in other words, I say, what would be really cool is this scene isn't working at all, but what if you did it this way and you introduced this new character here and it took the story off in this angle, this new different, or it added to the suspense or whatever. So what I gave you substantially added to the value of the book. So I need to say in my contract to you, no matter what I do for you, all rights to the work remain with you, right? You need that, okay? You should not go with anybody who cannot guarantee that. Because, hey, if your book is a bestseller 2 years from now, you don't want somebody coming back to you and saying, I gave you the idea for that character, or I rewrote that scene for you. Yeah.
I just wanted to add that any professional editor understands that it's a work for hire, and so if that person is reluctant, that's a red flag.
It is a red flag. It's absolutely a red flag.